Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe,
but a multiverse.
Where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next.
Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen. I am your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
And for this episode, we'll be getting into the season premiere of Arrow, Season 6, Fallout, as per Wikipedia, which they do warn us it might be too long or excessively detailed, by the way. In flashbacks, Slade heads to the Argus ship alone while the others take refuge in the plane. Samantha runs off to find William, and Thea following her. John's right pectoral muscles are injured while rescuing Felicity. Oliver finds Thea in critical condition and a dying Samantha, who asks him to look after William. Dinah and Quentin are attacked by Laurel, whom he shoots. She is later saved by an unknown man. In the present, Thea is still comatose, and William blames Oliver for Samantha's death. Laurel and her mercenary team attack the SCPD. During another confrontation, John accidentally wounds Renee, his injury impairing his ability to aim properly. Determining Laurel will next attack City Hall, Team Arrow sets a trap. John stays behind, believing himself a liability in the field, while Felicity and Curtis go to disarm any bombs. However, Laurel's gang attacks the hideout instead, but they are driven off by Team Arrow. Quentin's reluctance to harm Laurel further allows her to escape. Oliver arranges another hearing for Renee to reclaim his daughter. Curtis discovers that Laurel stole a prototype T-sphere. God. Slade tells Oliver that he is traveling to Calgary to find his son, advising him to choose between vigilantism and William. Oliver and William reconcile slightly, even as pictures of Oliver wearing the Green Arrow suit leak to the media. Well, I'll be honest, I was super bored by this episode.
I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this has been fun.
Oh, man. What's happened to us? Why don't we agree?
I don't know. No, I mean, I enjoyed it. Like, the downside, if anything, like, the only down moment maybe really for me was, William pointing at his dad saying, like, this is how I see the Dark Man. Like, that was weird. It's been weird since the trailer, and I haven't cared for it since then, but...
Yeah, the bad man.
Yeah, the bad... yeah.
And this kid is clearly, like, 14 years old, man. Like, there's...
It's weird. Like, he's obviously he's an adolescent. He's not...
He is old enough at
English
this point
kind
that...
of child, and it is a strange moment, because the rest of the episode, they show him to be a relatively intelligent person. Like, he's passive-aggressive enough that when his dad gets home and wants to talk, he's like, no, I'm tired of playing games, I'm going to bed. That's passive-aggressive. That is an adult thought.
Yeah.
And then later, when he's reading his little book, and Oliver comes in, and it is a nice moment where he finally says, like, there's a game on tomorrow, and the kid asks, like, what kind of game? Again, that's an adult moment. It's passive-aggressive, it's controlling, it's not, it doesn't, to me, coalesce with the kid who points, like, that bad image from Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider. And
there's the bad man.
Yeah. That didn't work
I mean,
for me.
This kid is so old that if the ratings meet it out, which it may not, actually, and they keep making seasons, for maybe even the next 2 or 3 seasons, this kid's going to wind up in a mask standing by Oliver's side.
Yeah.
He's that old. There's not a point here where
we
he
only
should
need
be,
about
3
more seasons to get him there if you use Gotham as a meter.
Yeah.
But that was... Oh, by the way, I was really happy for you.
For me?
Yeah, because they did finally mention, said, at his age, I had Tommy.
Yeah. I don't know why you... I've never been specifically, bent on them bringing back Tommy.
You've just been, on occasion, sure they would.
Yeah.
So in this case, even
Absolutely.
when they bring him back for, was it Raina? I forget the name. Risa? Right, anyway.
Yeah, Reza.
Risa? I got there.
Yeah.
You gave me enough chances. even her kind of saying like, well, friends who get you into more trouble maybe aren't friends. Whatever. The point is that they brought him up. Oh, he doesn't have anybody. Well, at his age, I'll tell me. Yeah.
Like, damn it, Reza, he's dead. Will you stop hell hacking that poor kid?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there were some really cool moments in the show. Like the whole opening action sequence looked great. I mean, Wild Dog's new suit, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, that was all really cool. I was really into all that.
The T-spheres being a little more, I mean, yeah, the T-spheres are a little more advanced now. Curtis out in the field isn't some new bizarre thing. Now this is kind of a cool thing we're doing. That was great. That shot of Oliver hopping on the boat, fantastic.
Yeah, that was all cool.
Which we'd seen that and him hopping off to save Wild Dog later in the trailer for this season, but still, that all came together wonderfully, I thought.
Yeah.
Elicity seems to be kind of back in the cards, which I'm fine with.
Yeah. I am too.
If anything really struck me as truly bad about this episode, it's Black Siren's...
Katie Cassidy?
No, she was fine. It was actually It was her sidekick. He has some terrible line about like when
Alex Faust.
Yeah, is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. He's got this ridiculous line about when the ballistic missile is diverted and explodes. Oh, did the detonation bring up unpleasant memories? Oh God, that was rough.
And when they're exploding, when they're destroying the police department, he's just walking around with his mouth open, like with this big, ridiculous grin on his face. Just like, yes. Like, he was just bad.
Yeah.
He was just bad.
He's definitely not a character I want to really invest a lot of time in right now.
Yeah, and, Black Siren was bad for me. Not a fan of the actress. Don't like the way they write her. Don't like anything they do with her, really. Sometimes I do. Sometimes.
I'm always a little torn. And I think I may be more torn than ever on this, because a lot of her scenes, they're writing her against Blackthorn, who has a couple of really powerful moments in the episode. I mean, just the shot of him staring at 3 shots of, I think it was whiskey, who cares? Just the image of him staring at 3 shots and not drinking them in a bar is, that's something.
Yeah, that was good. He was good.
I liked that he's using Dinah as kind of a sponsor. Like, he's got some surrogate transitional stage of his daughter's legacy that he's using, and it really is like it's there was a lot going on with him this episode that I really loved. Like the fact that he can't get over the fact that that's his daughter. I feel like everyone's kind of coaching him through. No, it's I understand, but damn it, man. Like he says at some point, we both know this parallel universe crap is crap, and
no,
like emotionally you get him, but on the one hand you're like, no, it's literally a thing, and when I say literally, I mean that is literally not your daughter.
Yeah.
But I got it. But I still like the scene where he can't bring himself to shoot her, and then later he's hiding that from the team. The fact that he did shoot her originally, and he's hiding that from the team as well. It's been a tradition of ours not to like secrets in the Arrow universe, and I'm
glad we skipped over these. Like we had them for like one episode.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've still got like they didn't just give us half a season of drawing out this relationship between Quentin and Dinah where they both know something. They just told us this episode, but they did create another secret where now Quentin let her go, and because of the one coming out so quickly, I can trust that the other might come out quickly as well, and they'll probably forgive him.
Here's something that bothered me, and the whole time we've been talking about like Thea has no agency other than what a man does. Like what she's always got a man in her life that's like telling her, making her do something, even if she's reacting against it.
Until last season, where we were finally saying like, well, yeah, she's finally an independent actor.
Absolutely. Now they killed off Malcolm Merlin. She has no man in her life. They put her in a coma.
Okay, but in all fairness to the writers, that wasn't their call.
Is it still that they just need her to not be there for a minute? Is that all
that
it
really is?
now?
They just put her on ice for a minute. Like Willa Holland asked the show to, kind of write her down, not out, but hey, I want to go to part-time. So their solution was, well, In the classic tradition of television, we will coma you. Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I liked about that is at least we get to see that, like, Slade has apparently been by the hospital before. I like that Slade and Oliver have kind of a working relationship in the present.
Yeah.
And they did get to bring in the line from the trailer about, like, you and I work between two worlds and can only do that for so long and stuff like that. And they both wish each other luck. It's a nice scene after all these years to see them do that.
Yeah. So, I think I was mostly bored because they built it up so much. The producers built it up so much, like, oh, we're going to find out, maybe we'll find out who died. Maybe it'll be a slow burn. Like, no, everybody lived. Yeah,
that bothered me. There are no surprises.
Everybody but Samantha.
Whatsoever. And even Samantha died the worst death I've seen on television in some time.
Yeah, it was like, if there's going to be repercussions. All right, well, Thea's in a coma, and Samantha's dead. All right, we didn't know Samantha very well, so whatever.
And Diggle, I'm really hoping, because real late in the episode, they show his scars, right, on the right pec there, across the shoulder.
Uh-huh.
Something happened to his right arm, and I'm hoping that's what's happening to him, that he's got some actual kind of rehab damage that he needs to work out, that he's not... Cause either he's got some rehab that he needs to go through, and he's not willing to kind of tell the team, I'm not functional yet, I'm not physical yet, I'm not there yet. Or he's doing a semi-ridiculous version of PTSD, where, like, obviously he was injured, he's going through something. I mean, the entire island blew up. It's not a case against PTSD, it's just that he makes this weird face and shakes his arm all strange when he's supposed to make a shot. That's just, I mean, for lack of a better word, kind of silly. I'm actually hoping that is real arm damage rather than just him flopping his arm around and widening his eyes every time I don't even know what you'd call that. The memory checks in. I think it really is more about his arm than his brain. But we'll see.
It was a little I thought it was a PSTD. Is that right? PTSD. I knew it sounded wrong. PTSD.
What you described was a private STD.
Yeah. Aren't all STDs private?
Some are public, unfortunately.
But they're all on your private.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
Which you make public, which makes them T.
Just ignore me,
which brings
people.
us to D.
Stands for the dick. No.
Let's move on. Stop. Let's stop everything that's happening there. Whatever thought you were working on, let's just do that instead.
I don't know what it was now.
Something about his arm and when they referenced
it. Oh, yeah. I thought it was PTSD until they showed me the scar, Then I was like, oh, it's the scar.
Yeah, I thought, like, well, this is kind of I mean, it's a known effect, the gun shy thing. It's a known effect. I'm not discouraging it or discounting it. It's a real thing, but it looked weird. It kind of drew me out. It looked so weird. And when they showed me the thing at the end with his arm, I thought, oh, I hope that's where they're going with this. That'd be great.
Yeah. He's like, it's both, Oliver. It's scarring and PTSD.
And I can deal with that happily. Like, if what he ends up saying is that, like, every time I draw my gun, it's, like, every time I, like, my arm doesn't do that correctly, and it freaks me out, and in the heat of battle, I don't know what to do, and I'm just a little scared now, and I get it, blah, 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 blah. All that checks.
Oliver's like, use your other arm, John. You gotta stop putting us in these situations.
It's rough. Try to throw something with your non-dominant arm. It ain't easy. I'm not sure I could pull a trigger with my left hand, to be honest. Pulling a trigger is not actually that easy. It's I mean, it can be. I know there's a lot of variations, but like...
dude's into Black Ops and all that shit. I would think he would, know how to do that.
Just certain guns. It's real, the actual finger strength needed on certain guns is pretty high.
You don't think Dig is,
I'm pretty
ambidextrous?
sure those arms can handle it. It's not what I'm saying. I don't think he's ambidextrous by any stretch, but that is a giant man. I'm pretty sure he can pull a trigger in any capacity. But if he was injured, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, all right. Well, I don't know. I don't know why, but I just always thought of Dig as being ambidextrous somehow.
I don't know. I wouldn't count it out, but I've always seen him raise his gun that way with right arm dominant. So same way I've never seen. I don't think I've ever seen Oliver fire a shot without his right arm being the one that pulls the string.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't need to be in the field then.
Yeah.
Damn it, man.
Yeah.
You and Quentin need to step out, man.
Yeah.
Go have a cherry pop or something, you know what I mean?
Somewhere. He's got, I don't know what he's got to work on exactly. I was kind of wondering by the end of the episode, but there's Clint. And the theme for this episode seems to be pretty relevant to that. Like, kind of failure at being a father, right? Like, we haven't seen how Diggle's new take affects his family, but Quentin has failed as a father, he feels. I mean, he's got one daughter that's just off doing God knows what with time, and we'll not get into the fact that she spent 6 months being miserable and didn't reconnect with her father. But
who apparently could have really used it.
Could have used some help at the time. But forgiving that, and forgiving the fact that she was in Star City for a fair amount of the episode. All right, so forgiving the fact that Legends exists to prove my point. He does feel like he's failed both of his daughters. And he sees this new incarnation of Katie Cassidy as a chance to save that relationship for him to whatever extent. That's fine. But it's also about like Oliver not being able to help William.
Yeah, sure.
And like even Quentin getting to counsel Oliver to some extent. I mean, there's a lot of father themes, I suppose, to the episode. Like, Diggle can't help his team anymore. He can't be that big, reliable guy that he's been. And to some extent, do you think he's kind of facing, like, a little bit like the Iron Man 3 problem? I'm just a guy in a tin can. I got some sense of that, especially when he benches himself for that one scene.
Maybe so. I don't know. They could go that way if they wanted.
He's obviously not helpless. But, I mean, he can fight still, it seems. He just has trigger issues. But beyond that, it was still like Renee getting another chance with his spawn. Whatever that'll amount to this time. That just seemed to be the theme of the episode.
Yeah.
Failure as a father. I did, by the way, like that Renee mentions that, like, I keep telling you, Hoss, I'm a poet.
That was funny.
That was good. I really like that guy.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun with him. Happy they brought him in.
It was.
I think I'm done, man.
I think I may be as well. Oh, only other thing, like, what do you have to say about the reveal at the end there?
What reveal?
Well, Oliver clearly wearing the Green Arrow costume.
Oh, I don't know. It didn't really strike me. We've done this dance before a few times now. Like, he's outed as the Arrow. He's outed as I don't care. Whatever.
I kind of agree. I mean, looking at the promo for, like, episode 2, there's going to be some FBI agent that comes in and really fucks him up, and that seems to be where they're going with it. But my initial thought watching that was like, man, I really wish that was like episode 21 that they did that, because then I might really be able to see something. But episode 1 of this season, no chance.
Yeah.
Do you have any guesses on who helped Laurel or Black Siren? Sorry.
Oh,
he has nice shoes, whoever that was.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. It hadn't even occurred to me. I was just like, well, we'll find out at some point.
Yeah. I had really nothing on it. I was just wondering if you had a guess of some kind.
I mean, these people are, these writers and producers are pretty bad about doing the thing where they're like, well, maybe it'll be someone you know. Maybe it'll be a whole cloth character. Maybe it'll be a name that you recognize, but it'll still be a whole cloth character. We're just usurping a name. Or there's no point. There's no point even talking about it, really. Like, it's at this point.
Yeah.
It's all up in the air.
I know. I think me and you partly have not quite forgiven him for that whole Coast City thing they pulled a couple of years ago.
And so many other things. It's just like, stop playing with me.
That hurt. I have a lot of respect for Guggenheim as a person. Don't take it the wrong way, but sometimes he dicks me around and I don't appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate what he does. Just every now and then I feel like he says something and it just plays with my emotions. How can that not be frustrating is all I'm saying. I'm human, man.
Yeah.
I'm actually, if anything, I'm more worried about the fact that there is a security mole somewhere on the team and we didn't focus on that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a suspicion that's going to end up having to do with Felicity's past, because the producers did mention that we're going to deal with everyone as a team, but it's going to be kind of like we're still going to use flashbacks, but we're going to focus on people. And they made it sound like it's not all going to be about Oliver and his struggles this year. It's going to be about like every part of the team and their own personal struggle, which could be great.
Yeah.
It could
Could be.
also be biting off too much and it falls on itself, but it has the potential to be great.
Absolutely. I'm not looking to count this one out yet.
Yeah, and especially like last half of the last season, it's the best. It's the best Arrow's ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, me and you were. It was almost like a running joke with us that like early this year. So closing half of all these seasons, we were kind of saying like, well, I didn't think I'd say this, but Arrow was the best show on this week, and then that went on for like 6 weeks in a row. We're like, I don't know what's happening. Arrow's my favorite show right now. I'm confused. How did they beat Flash?
Yeah. Well, they beat him well. That's what happened.
They did. And all of this doesn't even mention that somewhere out there is a vigilante, and we're just gonna have to deal with that too.
All right.
Were you at all amused? I promise the last thing I've got, but were you at all amused with Black Siren mentioning that I would have gone with fishnets?
Promises.
It was a nice callback.
Yeah, it just kind of felt like that to me. It just kind of felt like
It's just lip
kind of
service.
hacky.
No one's going to end up in
Yeah.
fishnets on this show.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say hacky, but I don't mean it in such a bad way. I'm just like, yeah, it's your standard, comic book show callback where they are like, ha, it just, we've been doing this shit since 2000, man. What do you prefer, yellow spandex?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
We live in jaded times. Because I swear, if this show had premiered in 2000 and that had been one of the lines before the MCU, before the DCEU or whatever it's called now, before there was an Arrowverse, any of that, if this had been like part of the revival of these shows, we'd have been giddy by that line.
Yeah, I didn't care for the line back in 2000, honestly, with X-Men, because I felt like that was their way of pointing at the comic book fans and looking at everyone else in the theater and going, "What a bunch of freaking dorks, right? Yellow spandex, lame shit."
Yeah, well,
know?
especially with X-Men, I was particularly annoyed because they were in spandex when I loved them. I mean, before I read them, I saw them in the animated series, and that's a real piece of my childhood now.
Yeah, I mean, Cyclops goes, "Would you
And they
prefer
were all
yellow
yellow
spandex?"
and wonderful.
And I went, "Yes, I would prefer yellow spandex."
That would
Or
be fantastic.
maybe not-
Can we do that?
Maybe
What
not,
can we do with his
maybe
facial
not
hair?
spandex, but can we make this look like a thing that I once saw? Anyway. Whatever. I'm done.
Yep.
Alright, guys. We will be back with probably a pretty big news episode. Probably on Tuesday or Wednesday. And thank you guys for listening.
We are in partnership with TV Time, your TV show calendar available on the web, Android, and iOS.
You can find us on Twitter, DC On Screen, Facebook, come like us, DC On Screen, DCOnScreen.com for every episode for free. Just come check it out, see what's going on. Until next time, keep some DC on your screen.
Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52 Week 4. It was performed by me, David Z. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band Future Elevators can be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Eli Ophelders of Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud and can be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We're a proud member of the Giant Size Team Up Network, GiantSizeTeamUp.com. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy and improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.